And my name is Danny Sudman. I'm an Executive Director and founder of Green Campus Initiative. I launched Green Campus Initiative as a nonprofit 501c3 through Community Partners, my fiscal sponsor, about a year and a half ago to support the camp community in accessing the benefits of sustainable development. And so I'm going to be talking about teaching with composting. Education is definitely my passion when we look at sustainability, and I just feel that, and I've found that camps are such great educational vessels for being able to share this information. So the few things that I'd like to cover is looking at facilitating compost education, varied teaching methods, staying positive with your message. We're going to hear a fun compost cheer. We'll talk about worm composters and then touch on some additional activities and info we can go through there. So first off, facilitating. So, part of my job when I entered the camp community was in challenge and team building. And so looking at what a facilitator is, I think is important in defining that. So define a facilitator as someone who helps a group of people understand their common objectives and assists them to plan how to achieve these objectives. In doing so, the facilitator remains neutral, meaning he or she does not take a particular position in the discussion. And so we can look at this definition and understanding of what a facilitator does. I break it up into three parts. You provide an introduction, talk about what you're doing, you observe the activity and watch what's happening and see interactions between campers and staff, and bring those ideas into the debrief. So you really bring it home, that's so what, the meat and potatoes of it. And so when we're looking at facilitating compost education, understand that it's important to take a step back, that we are going to have certain biases. We all carry biases with us, but our objective is to provide the facts and allow our audience to make the decisions on their own. So ultimately, it's up to that audience, our campers, our staff, to make those decisions. But as a good facilitator, we can provide a balanced set of information and allow them to make informed decisions. Also consider your teaching environments, the natural world. We can see examples of composting. If you just pick up a leaf that's fallen off a tree, an example, demonstrate how that's breaking down. So using the natural world, with which most camps are going to have access to. Dining hall and mealtime, being able to talk about what's on your plate, what's compostable, where did it come from, and where is it going to go from this point. Looking at waste collection after the meal, so a lot of camps have collection stations. I think we saw a photo from both Camp Stevens and Frost Valley as well about collection stations. At Catalina Island camps where I worked, one of our staff members would be at the compost collection table, and it was another educational opportunity to talk with the campers and staff as they came through there. And then demonstration compost systems. As we saw, there's a wide variety of composting opportunities. We spoke on some larger type systems. I'll talk about worm composting for just a minute in the next couple slides here. But if you don't have a composting system, please start small. I think would be the best information, and understand what you're getting into, learn from other camps, and kind of move forward from there. Of course, going larger into facility-wide, and then the use of the compost in the garden, it all ties it together, and you see that sustainable cycle, that loop closing up. I also recommend using varied teaching methods, and as educators, as camp professionals, we're probably all pretty familiar with these different ideas, but understanding that we have a diversity of youth and adults that typically attend camp programs, so choosing a method that is best going to reach them. So discussion obviously is the most efficient way to share information. So you can, as I'm doing right now, I can talk to you and share information directed at you very efficiently, but it might not be the most engaging. So consider hands-on, free-flow exploration, using visual aids and skits and stories and songs and so forth to incorporate in there. Also, making sure that we're staying positive with the message. So being able to introduce the activity, going back to those ideas with the different teaching methods, using stories and visual aids and songs and skits to keep it light and fun. I didn't even put the term in here, but the idea of doom and gloom, that's something that comes up pretty often with camp professionals when it comes to sustainability topics. And then the debriefing as well, focusing on the so what. Do prepare your debrief questions ahead. And, you might not even need to debrief very far into an item, but if you want to have a deeper discussion, prepare those questions and be prepared to answer, and potentially approach or avoid, address some of those doom and gloom issues. My favorite open-ended question is, tell me more, in those debrief processes. And then finally with that is create a call to action. So if we're talking about composting and the challenges, maybe we can talk about erosion or other health issues or other soil type quality issues, growing, agriculture. Create a call to action. Ask your campers or staff who you're doing this lesson with to make a call to action, whether it's to take what you eat and eat what you take, or whatever it might be to support those actions there. So at this point, I want to give a shout out to Amy Carlson from LifeLab. Carrie from the U.S. Composting Council made an introduction, and we were able to get together, and she shared some great ideas. We had a wonderful chat. Unfortunately, they weren't able to make the webinar with us today, but she did go home that day of our conversation and made this video with her daughter. So we're going to go ahead and pass it over, and Amy and her daughter will teach us a quick compost shear.
So right now we're going to talk about how to build a compost pile. Have you ever built one? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so when you build a compost pile, you usually build it in layers. We think of it kind of like building a cake. Like when you make a cake, you can do a layer of cake and then a layer of frosting on top of that, maybe even some slices of strawberry in the middle, and then another layer of cake and then some frosting. But when you build a compost pile, what would you think would be in the layers?
Greens and browns.
Greens and browns. What's in greens, browns, and manure? You got it. But what's in the greens? If you build a layer of greens,
vegetables.
Sure, vegetables
and
like fruits and green stuff, like living, like plants that were recently alive, still green. Good. So food scraps and fresh plant material is going to go in that greens layer. What's in the browns layer?
Dead plants.
Yeah, dead plants like leaves or straw or other dead plants from the garden. Great. And of course we know what's in the manure layer. And so when we're building our layers, right now we're going to act that out and build our own compost pile with our hands. So can you put that down? All right, great. So I'm going to be a layer of browns to start with. What are you?
Greens.
Okay. Manure?
Brown.
Okay. And if we had more hands, we'd build this pile up higher. But this is all the hands we've got for now, so this will do. So our compost pile is done, but pretty soon it could use turning. So right now we're going to go 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to throw our hands behind us and turn the pile. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, turn the pile! Put everything back in. All right, now it's going to decompose so much more quickly. And then pretty soon it'll be done and ready to use in the garden. And so right now we're going to go 1, 2, 3, and then throw up our hands and yell, go compost. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go compost!
Ta-da!
All right. Well, and thank you again to Amy for putting all that together, and your daughter, of course. What a fun way to talk about the different layers of compost there. So just moving forward, we have just a couple more points. We are kind of towards the end of our presentation time, and we'll be moving into Q&A. I did want to talk about the worm compost. So some Carrie had mentioned, worm composters are a really, really simple way to get started with compost. And the other benefit is that they're very portable. I've talked with day camps before, and I know our last webinar on water efficiency might not have been directly geared towards the day camps, and having a big compost program might not be as well, but a small home composter, worm composters are something that you can implement. Kids love playing in with the worms, and they're really inexpensive to put together. The follow-up resources will have some more tools for you to build those out, but as you can see here, just the basic setup, your different layers and your trays. On the right, there's some buckets. There's also some of these Rubbermaid containers, which are pretty regularly seen in there. I've also seen garden kind of flats, nursery flats that have been used there. So some follow-up resources to come for that. And then additional resources, and these will also be outlined in the follow-up, but starting a Clean Plate Club so that you only take what you can eat and eat what you can take. Looking at that, ways to reduce our streams before we even kind of get into the waste cycle there. Make your own composters, looking at some mealtime activities. Compost critter cards are really cool, and we can adjust our perspective and take a look into another community and what's happening in those compost piles. There's some great composting guides available. Educational signage, so we talked about visual aids are a great way to teach. I think signage can be one of the most powerful educational tools when an individual can look at a sign, they're gathering the information on their own, and it's ultimately, like we said before, it's up to them what they do with that information. And you didn't have to put any energy into talking to them or sharing that information. They would bring that on their own, and what an empowering opportunity to see. And then there's resources on how you can use your compost. And then definitely Pinterest is a really good opportunity. I've been getting into Pinterest a lot because there's some great ideas out there, and they're very shareable. So please do check out the Green Camps Pinterest page. And then, of course, to the right, there's a handful of organizations that you can refer to with some more information. So before we move into the Q&A session, I just wanted to do a quick overview of what Green Camps Initiative is. I had mentioned that we're providing support and resources to the camp community. One of our core focuses for the programming right now is the Green Camps membership, in which camps are able to pursue a Green Camps certification. And that certification is going to help camps access the benchmarks and pursue best practices in sustainable camp development with a focus on that triple bottom line, so reducing environmental impact, educating the diverse audience of campers and staff, and of course saving money, which is the one that kind of perks up. There's a lot of great opportunities, economic opportunities for saving money there. So if you're interested in joining as a camp, I'd love to follow up with you and hear more about that. And of course, as a 501c3, the funds that come in support our beneficiaries, and our beneficiaries are the thousands and thousands of camps in the United States and abroad that are doing such great work, and including community and accessing such a diverse group of people. So please do follow up. You can find more about Green Camps Initiative on our website at greencampsinitiative.org.